Today, I'm going to go over 3 things that you should avoid at anime conventions and 3 things you should pick up at anime conventions. There's a lot of stuff you can really waste a lot of money on, and a lot of things you should really invest in and really hunt for if you're at an anime convention. And today we're going to go over all of that to make it the best for you at your next anime convention. So we're gonna start off with the bad, because that way you get these right off the bat. You got them fresh in your mind. You're gonna make sure you avoid these at all costs. And the first one is really, really important, and that's fakes. Now this is rare. You don't always see these at anime conventions, and most bigger anime conventions, you're not gonna see them, because they'll get reported to staff. Staff will usually tell them, hey, take them down, or you're going to have to be removed as a vendor. Thankfully, that is being enforced more and more, and we don't have to worry about that. However, they do still exist, so I want you to avoid them, because fake anime figures are just not fun at all. They flood the market, and if you find one, you should not buy it, because then if you're buying it, it ends up eventually being resold, and then someone else ends up with it. Maybe they don't even know that it's a fake. So an easy way to look out for that is, say you're getting a Nindroid here. The best way to look for that is look for the Good Smile Company logo there, or this logo. Make sure you can find any official logos on any boxes. That will make sure that it is official. And if you're gonna go for a Funko Pop, make sure that it is a legit box. The best way to do this is look up boxes online of the official artwork of the box. Normally you can really tell it in the font here and this logo here, so be sure to look for that. Especially with Funko Pops of like rare figures. I know, like, I just pulled one randomly here, but like this Rengoku, he's glow in the dark. He is a Walmart exclusive, but he's not as expensive as some of them. But some of that older Attack on Titan, One Piece, a lot of those go for a lot of money. So don't spend a ton of money on something that ends up being fake, because what happens is you're going to go home, you're going to look at all your stuff, and you're going to realize, hey, this one looks a little cheaper than most. And maybe you'll take it to a friend, maybe you'll take it to a shop, and you'll have them look at it, and they'll say, hey, it's a fake. And guess what? You're home, that vendor has gone back home, and you probably don't even remember what vendor it was. They probably don't have their name up. So best thing to do is avoid those at all costs. If you do find a fake, and you know for 100% certainty it's a fake, tell the vendor themselves. Be polite about it, because maybe they don't even know. Tell them, hey, this is a fake product. If they seem to get angry with you, go tell staff, because we don't want them in anime conventions. We don't want fake items going through an anime convention, maybe accidentally being sold to a new anime fan that doesn't know any better. Maybe they think they're getting a good deal, but in the end they just end up with a fake figure, and they're eventually, once they find out about it, they're gonna be disappointed. The second item is similar to the first, and that is overpriced items. You don't want to overpay for anything. And there are 3 major figures that I've already talked about, 2 of them, but there's one more that I will get to here in a moment, that are always overpriced when they're sold at anime conventions, unfortunately. Now, not always. You can definitely find good deals at anime conventions, so be on the lookout. Know if you're gonna go for a certain figure, like say you're gonna go to an anime convention and you're wanting this specific pop, find out what the value of this pop is before you go. Don't spend over $10, $20 for it, especially really 10% of its value. Don't spend over that. Like, if you're going to pay 110% of this value, it's going to be about maybe 20 bucks, and that's fair. But don't spend 30, 40 bucks on something that you can find elsewhere for 20. It's just, yes, it's convenient, but it's also a waste, and you're wasting your money on something you could go to another vendor and buy 2 things that are really cool, and you're getting your money's worth out of them. So these 3 items that I have here are the most commonly overpriced items that I find. And I said I mentioned 2 of them, Funko Pops and Nindroids. These get overpriced really, really quick. Now, I will say, With Nindroids, they either go one of two ways. Either they get really cheap at anime conventions, or they get really expensive. Demon Slayer stuff ends up being really expensive for whatever reason. But don't overspend. Don't do that. The other thing here that really ends up being overpriced, unfortunately, because I know a lot of people don't have access to these. And an anime convention is a great way to buy them, but they are these freeing figures. These freeing figures end up like $200-300 more than what you can buy them for online. Now I know sometimes they will have them as figures that are no longer in stock. I've seen the Konosuba ones. They go for like $500-600. Like the Aqua one, I saw it, I think at PopCon for like $600. Really cool. Would have loved to pick it up. I'm not spending $600 on it. Even if I went out of my way to find it, I could still find it for $400. Once again, that's nothing against the vendor on that case. Don't even, maybe you can offer them, say, hey, would you take 500? If they say no, don't push it. They have a set price most likely, and they want to stick by that because they're trying to earn money there as well. And if it's a real product, do not be rude to them at all. Really, the only time you should ever be, don't even be rude then, but anytime you should ever kind of be more, hey, be aware of this, is if it's a fake product. I will stick by that. Don't let vendors sell fake products. But definitely don't overspend on freeing figures. They are great. And if you find one that you really, really, really like, check sites like AmiAmi. Even, I hate eBay. I hate eBay. But even look on eBay to see some recent sales and see if it's worth the value that they're putting on at the anime conventions. These are just 3 really popular items like freeing figures, Funko Pops, Nindroids. They are just very, very popular. So they know they'll sell and they will, and that's fine, but just be aware of that because it is a major problem and you will end up overspending, getting home, finding another listing that is a lot cheaper, and then deciding, man, I wish I would have saved my money and maybe bought something else. So be aware of that when you go to an anime convention. Now, the third thing here is a big controversial one because I know some people love these things, and that's fine. If you are a big fan of these, that's absolutely fine. But it's mystery boxes. Now, mystery boxes are a big thing at not only anime conventions, but comic book conventions, everything. They usually have a big booth of these boxes that have One Piece on the side of them, Demon Slayer, Marvel, Star Wars. And they're really tempting because you're thinking, wow, $25 for this box that's random. And, who knows what I might get? I might get something really cool. You will not get anything really, really cool 99% of the time. You're going to overspend for maybe a cheaper figure that was not selling at a vendor booth. And so they have now put it in this mystery box for you to spend more than it's worth most of the time. They will put a few grails in there here and there so that people will say, look what I got. And then everybody will flood around trying to buy a new box. And guess what? They put that in maybe 3 boxes out of 300. So you're not going to get that major thing. It's pretty much playing a lottery. Don't do that. You're not going to get what you want, and you're going to overspend. That $25, you could go to another booth, buy a really cool prize figure, buy a really cool Funko Pop, whatever you're into. You could buy that instead. You know exactly what you're getting, and there is so many options at these conventions. There's tons of booths. Even smaller ones can have 20, 30 booths set up, maybe 30, 40. And so you can find plenty of stuff that is really cool to buy that is not these mystery boxes that I, in my opinion, don't think are worth it at all. But if you're really into that, try an official booth. Good Smile, which makes these Nindroids and stuff, they usually have a mystery like canister thing that they'll do. You'll get a little card, you'll put it in the machine, and then it'll pop out a color or ball or whatever, and then you'll take it over to the counter, and they'll give you something random. Last year at the Anime NYC, I did that, and I got a To Love Ru figure. I don't know what it is because I haven't watched the anime, but it's really cool. It's Pop-Up Parade, and it was worth it in my opinion. So, on occasion, official booths really have good mystery boxes, but for the most part, you're probably not going to get what you want, so just avoid mystery boxes, in my opinion. Now, what should you hunt for at anime conventions? This is a big question that I think you can absolutely find some amazing finds at anime conventions. And the first one of them is going to be a bit of a personal thing that I really look for because I can find a ton of really cool stuff at conventions, and that's plushies. It's amazing how many of these anime conventions have a ton of like hard to find plushies. For instance, this Nezuko back here. Yeah, I never have seen Nezuko at one, but I saw a Hatsune Miku one, and it was only priced, you might think this is a bit much, at $700. Now, that sounds like a lot. However, the only other time that I have seen a Hatsune Miku that size listed anywhere on the internet was for $1,200. That's $500 more than what I could have bought it for. I didn't get it. I thought, no, I don't really have a way to get this home. I'm going to pass on it. I don't really want it. Boy, do I wish I would have bought it now. But anyway, you can find a ton of plushies. All of these big Nesoberries up here, I found them at anime conventions. Well, not Kasamin. I got her online. But the other ones, at anime conventions. They sell a lot of plushies that are not available at most stores. Entertainment Earth doesn't have a lot of these plushies. For whatever reason, they just don't carry them. So if you want these kind of Japanese plushies that aren't really sold anywhere, check out anime conventions and you'll be surprised. They probably will just have a big mound of plushies. Look through them, because even the smaller ones, you might find some really cool like Nesoberry like plushies that are only like this big, maybe like a keychain. Tons of really cool stuff that you'll only find at anime conventions. So if you're a plushie fan, definitely look into the plushie booths. They have some really big hidden gems. Next up is exclusives. So at anime conventions, usually at bigger ones, so this is kind of a different case here, but they will have exclusive items. Now, these usually go very, very quickly. So what I recommend is before the anime convention even begins, look at each booth, especially the official booths, and see if they're offering anything exclusive for the event. Sometimes it'll be at the, say, like if you're going to go to Anime NYC or Anime Frontier, check out their official booth and see what they are offering. Or if like Aniplex, which is where I got this from, and this is a Hitori Bochi blanket here. This blanket, they had like 30 of them, and they sold out insanely quickly. And I grabbed the last one that they had. This was the last one that they sold at Anime NYC, and I got it. So you can't find this thing anymore. It's really cool because it's whenever she's like having a big spasm, but it's really cool. And whenever you find something that's official like that, it is really cool, and it's worth it, in my opinion, to find stuff like this. I think it's an absolute must whenever you go to an anime convention, especially these bigger ones, Anime Expo, Anime NYC, whatever, WeebCon down in Texas or whatever. Check them out because you won't be disappointed at all. Finally, and what is, in my opinion, the most important and most valuable thing you can find at anime conventions is the stuff in the Artist Alley. Artist Alley is your best friend as an anime fan at anime conventions. Yes, going through and looking at all the Funko Pops or all the Nindroids or all the scale figures or whatever are really cool. They're very fun to look at, and they are really cool. They have cool designs, some really rare ones sometimes. It's really cool. However, if you want some really big hidden gems, look in your Artist Alley. Now, obviously, and I'm not putting any ill will towards these artists because they are phenomenal, but the big walls you will see at anime conventions that have a ton of artwork that looks like it stretches to the ceiling, yes, they are great, and they are really cool, but they're probably going to be a little bit overpriced. I'm not going to lie. I've bought them. I have a Lucy one over there that you can't see, but I have one, and it's really cool. I really like it, and I'll probably buy more of them eventually, but they are really expensive because they bought a big booth and they're trying to sell their things. The real gems is the little bitty tiny booth that's got maybe a few things, displayed or whatever. But if you really go in and you look at maybe they got a book that you can look through, you will find some of the best art you will ever see. I've got a few examples here that I'm going to show you. One of them is that Lucy that I was talking about. It's really cool in my opinion. I also have another Lucy artwork that I looked through a booklet and found, and it is amazing. Another cyberpunk up there that is a canvas, and then a few artworks there as well. You cannot go wrong in the artist alley. There are stickers, there are pins. For example, I will show you this one here. This is a really cool Demon Slayer pin that I got at PopCon Indie this year. This is amazing. And guess what? Found it in the artist alley, and you would not buy this for as cheap as I got it in the artist alley. I believe this was only like $35. That is a huge pin. You buy this at an official booth, you're talking 60 bucks. Like 30 bucks for this thing. That is an insanely good deal. These artists are really, really nice. They are very passionate about it. And if you say, hey, I really like Demon Slayer, well, guess what? They drew the item, so they probably really like Demon Slayer too. So you'll make some really good friends if you go and talk to them. Now, don't be obviously sitting there and talking to them all day, especially if you have a long line there, because some of them are really good. But they are really nice to talk to. They know what they're selling. They're very happy about everything they made. So you cannot go wrong with checking out the artist alley. A lot of people I know have just not even wandered into the artist alley. It's usually off to the side or in the back. Go check it out. You will find some incredible hidden gems in the artist alley. Trust me. And that's all to say that I am heading to Anime NYC this week. Later this week, I will be heading to New York to visit New York once again. And to go to Anime NYC, I am an Anime NYC Plus member or badge holder again. I have the fancy badge that is gonna, it costs too much, and it's gonna be another year to where I debate if this is worth it or not, but we'll have to let you know about that next week. But until then, stay tuned for much more content surrounding anime conventions, where I tell you, for one, if this was worth it for year two, and also what all I got from Anime NYC. Will I make a mistake and buy a mystery box? Probably not. But who knows? You'll have to find out whenever I post that video next week. But until then, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys very, very soon for more content. But until then,